James, I have been talking to you by means of video or chat about a poem, which is unusual for me. I'm not the kind of person that normally would discuss a poem. But for the fun of it, I sent that to you because it's literature, and it's a cat lesson dealing with words and language and literature, right? Okay, James, here's a quote comes up quite often in literature, I guess, depending on how much you read. It states, art imitates life. This is another statement that can give you pause. You have to interpret it, I would think, and you have to interpret it for yourself, maybe. Okay, James, here's a quote comes up quite often in literature, I guess, depending on how much you read. It states, art imitates life. This is another statement that can give you pause. You have to interpret it, I would think, and you have to interpret it for yourself, maybe. And I agree that the next slide, of course, is food for thought or learning process too. So I copy this. What does two roads diverged mean? And on the right, there's the copy from what I sent you, I guess. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. The line two roads diverged in a yellow wood refers to the divergent paths the solitary narrator, well, that's the guy writing the poem, I guess, encounters on his autumnal journey. I never heard that word. But as I said, because the leaves are yellow, that means it was fall, which represent the difficult choices we must often make. So those thoughts may be true in life. In other words, literature is an art, and art reflects life. And this statement that you can interpret for yourself, which is art because it's literature, interprets life. And let's get into that a minute here. What I want to say in this cat lesson is this true? And if it's true, then there should be some examples that I could state. If literature helps you to think and understand, there should be. And I'll tell you one. When I was in college, I'd finished 1 year. I was in my second year. I dropped out of college, went home. I went home because I had an illness. I may have told you I had severe acne, and obviously you two boys inherited a little acne from me. That's where it came from, which proves that you are related to me because we have a similar disorder. And all three of us will probably have taken Accutane to treat it. It worked very well for me. So back to my story, and I could write this story as literature, I guess, but I'm not very good at that. I had dropped out of college, and I had a sweetheart in college, and she stayed there. It was in a different city, of course. It was close to Alabama, and I returned back to where my parents lived, where I had grown up, city of East Point, which is some distance away. Probably never to return to the college. Okay, that college is where Pat was in attendance, and I no longer would be in attendance there, never went back. So there became a problem. If she was going to be my girlfriend and I was also going to be part of that, then we needed to see each other, as young people do, because being that far away is not a good idea. It just doesn't work well. So, since I was ill, couldn't drive, couldn't go anywhere, until I got some medical help later, I had wondered whether the distance was going to tear us apart, considering that I would never go back to school there. It might be that I would never see her again there. And for a time, it looked that way because I didn't drive. So she had a choice to make. I didn't have a choice to make, but she had a choice to make. Her choice was to whether to stay as my sweetheart or to move on. And I had wondered whether she was going to move on because I wasn't seeing her anymore. Before I dropped out of school, we ate our meals together, of course. We saw each other every day. But then we didn't see each other anymore. Okay, back to the point I'm trying to get to here is there was a choice to be made. And the writer of the poem said it made all the difference. Well, Pat chose to stay with me, even though there was a distance between us. We didn't see each other. She chose to stay. I didn't choose anything because I wasn't going. Okay, she chose to stay with me, and that made all the difference. What difference does it make? Well, it made the difference that eventually I recovered, and eventually we were able to see each other, but eventually we got married because she chose to stay with a boy, being me, who was some distance away, and it's possible she could never. That was a choice that she made, and the choice made all the difference, which I'm quoting. The choice made all the difference. What difference does it make? Well, it made a difference with you because you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the choice that she made. I would still be here, but your mother wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be here, and your family wouldn't be here. So, the poem you can interpret as being true. The difficult choices we must often make, which is what it reads there. What do you think, James?